So I got the chance to watch Bad Boys 4 Ride or Die really early, despite when this review is coming out, as I just got back from abroad, and I'm just currently rebuilding my life there. It used to be because I've been on a really long vacation. But anyway, Bad Boys 4 is a really enjoyable movie. It is the fourth installment as part of the brilliant Bad Boys franchise. And going into this movie, I honestly thought it would be one of those films that you can just switch your brain off and just sit back and relax and just watch the film and just not really have to work too hard thinking about everything that's working together. But actually, this movie is so much more than that, and it was really fun, really layered, and it just blended together some truly outstanding action sequences. I know a lot of people are giving a lot of hype to the aeroplane sequence, which definitely does deserve it, but I do feel like it's a little bit of a shame as everybody was so quick to criticize Infinite, starring Mark Wahlberg, which also very similarly had a wicked aeroplane sequence as well. And of course, Uncharted had a really cool one with Tom Holland. But anyway, Bad Boys 4 does have a really cool one over there. And obviously, the other one that we've all been seeing is the video game-esque one, which was just so brilliant. And I have to say, Adil and Bilall have just done such a good job in terms of creating this movie, as it feels really innovative, really fresh, whilst maintaining everything that everybody loves about this franchise. And this movie is peppered with some truly hilarious moments from the entire cast. I feel like everybody is able to bring their funny game as well as their dramatic game, and it just comes together so well. And this franchise has obviously been going on for years and years, and they aren't afraid to be really open about that in terms of aging up these characters to how they would realistically act at this age, whilst, like I said, retaining the formula that of course just makes the Bad Boys franchise so incredibly addictive and successful. And everybody just brings their A game, so let's go through all of them one by one. So first of course, Will Smith does a really good job as Mike Lowrey. I think it's going to be really interesting if Will Smith can actually bring back everybody. Of course, after the slap, this is the first proper movie that really is testing Will Smith's box office drawability. And of course, in the previous movies, Mike Lowrey is such a cool, suave character, and whilst he definitely does retain that slick detective aspects, this time the guy is really suffering from panic attacks, and I think it's really interesting how you add that element into somebody that usually is such a cool, suave, unaffected type character. He is still like that underneath, but I think it was really clever how they really did age this guy up, as well as developing this character up. So how would that slick character now be as an older person? So I think all of that stuff is really cool. And of course, he has a lot of family values this time because he is finally married now. So how does that change his character? His estranged son is back in the picture, who he has a lot of animosity with, as of course he killed his boss in the previous movie, which also does carry a lot of storylines with this character. But we'll speak a little bit more about him in a minute. But of course, the main plot of this movie is that his former boss is now being perceived to be a really awful person. And I think it's really interesting how the villains have been written in this movie, as they are so evil and so twisted that there's no line that they won't cross, especially in terms of tarnishing somebody that is dead for their own personal gain. So I really thought it was impressive how Mike Lowrey just does not want to believe the fact that his former boss is capable of doing any of this, and he is just so determined to prove everybody wrong. Martin Lawrence, very similarly, is able to step up to the plate in terms of playing opposite somebody who is so larger than life in terms of Will Smith. But I feel like Martin Lawrence is definitely able to hold his own, and in some sequences definitely does steal the show. And similarly, Marcus is a lot older as well, so he is going through a lot of health issues to the point where he has a near-death experience, and this definitely does set up the trajectory of this character's arc in this film, and he is just so good, so funny. I mean, some sequences work from a humorous point of view, some don't, but I love the fact that Martin Lawrence is just not afraid to fully throw himself in there. And out of all of the characters, I do actually feel like Marcus is the most relatable. We've also got Eric Dane here, who does such a good job as the villain McGrath. Like I said, no line he won't cross, and an absolute psychopath. He is willing to kill off so many characters for his own personal ambition, for his own personal greed. I feel like they could have developed the backstory of this character a little bit more. I mean, they do explain it, why this guy is doing what he's doing, but I just feel like they really could have done a little bit more, as this guy honestly has the capability of being one of the best villains that we've seen in a long time, as I feel like in so many movies, so many characters are just being bad for the sake of being bad. And even though it could have been developed a little bit more, I really do appreciate the fact that they really did explain why this guy is just so determined to do all of the things that he is doing. As like I said, that really does make him even more chilling. And he is incredibly intimidating. Like I said, nobody is off limits in terms of who he's willing to screw over and who he's willing to kill off. And he is a really intelligent guy. I feel like he is able to work out and always be a couple of steps ahead of a number of different characters, and I think the rivalry between him and Mike Lowrey really was a wicked one, and he just has so much stage presence, as you can really feel his presence whenever he is on screen. So I feel like Eric Dane did such a good job in terms of bringing this guy to life. I think the character of Armando was really, really good. If anything, I feel like he was the third main lead in some respects, because he was just so layered as well. I love the fact that, you know, you're not really supposed to like this guy because of all of the awful stuff that he did in the previous film. But then actually, as the movie progresses, you do actually come to really like this guy. And he is really, really cool. I feel like he has got a spin-off written all over him, as I feel like he was able to hold his own. He was really, really wicked in a number of stealth sequences, in a number of action sequences, and very similarly to Eric Dane's character, I feel like he was really, really intelligent in terms of being one step ahead of all of the other characters too. It was of course a shame that Joe Pantoliano's character got killed off, but he was really, really cool in this movie in terms of being brought back via flashback sequences and of course recorded footage that the characters then find. So I feel like he was really, really cool in terms of really bringing back the leadership qualities. And of course we've got Vanessa Hudgens and Alexander Ludwig reprising their roles from the previous movie, and I feel like they were really, really cool too, especially in terms of bringing a younger audience in. And I loved it when Armando was interacting with these characters as well. If anything, like I said, I would have loved a little bit more, but maybe we'll get to see that in the spin-off. So whilst Bad Boys Ride or Die isn't going to be the best movie you've ever seen in your life, I do actually think it's really, really enjoyable. It has some truly wicked action sequences, really well-written characters, incredibly funny, and I just feel like this movie was really, really well-paced. I feel like it didn't stay longer than it needed to in any particular sequence, but still was able to fully explore each sequence to make you really, really enjoy it. And I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see if Will Smith really can make a proper comeback, and hopefully if this movie is successful, we'll get to finally get Aladdin 2, the movie that we've all needed from a live action perspective, to be greenlit. But as far as this movie is concerned, I thought it was really, really enjoyable, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Bad Boys Ride or Die? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.